Hold yourself, NASCAR fans, because trouble is on the way for Bubba Wallace. Tyler Reddick won the most recent race, but is his victory a bad sign for his teammate? With tensions increasing and competition heating up, it's anyone's guesses what this racing duo will do next. Will Bubba Wallace be able to keep up, or will Tyler Reddick's triumph be the beginning of the end? Tune in to find out on NASCAR Zone. But before we dive into that, do subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. So, is Tyler Reddick's victory bad for Bubba Wallace? Let's discuss all the points why Tyler Reddick's win is bad for Bubba Wallace. What was that popping sound you heard in the afternoon of Sunday, March 27? It was Bubba Wallace's own actions, as well as those of others, that contributed to the increasing pressure he was under. The victory that Tyler Reddick took on Sunday was a big deal for 23XI Racing. But you have to question how badly it damaged Wallace's mental state as a result of it. That is now the second year in a row that a 23XI driver, who is not named Wallace, has guaranteed a spot in the postseason prior to the halfway point of the season. This informs us that the resources, personnel, and equipment are available for races to be won. And Wallace's most recent comment on national TV, which is self-defeating and does not help things, adds fuel to the fire.
Broke toe link in the rear and then oil line. Just trying my hardest not to go down that slippery slope of self-doubt right here. 2 weeks in a row making rookie mistakes, 6 years in the Cup. Need to be replaced.
Bubba Wallace said after the event, when he was being hard on himself after the incident, has finished last in all 3 Cup races at this season. There is a fine line between accepting responsibility for one's actions and blaming oneself, and Wallace can sometimes come dangerously close to crossing that line. It is very possible that Wallace is aware of the fact that he is now competing in a ride that other drivers in the garage believe they are capable of winning. Wallace is not the first nor the last driver to be in that position. Winning races is one strategy for putting that uncertainty to rest, both inside and externally. As long as Wallace is unable to accomplish that, the question will continue to hang over the number 23 squad, and the pressure will continue to mount between now and the postseason. Another point we can consider is whether that should COTA be put on the schedule instead of Texas Motor Speedway. It was a terrific and intriguing road race-up until the closing laps on Sunday, when everyone sought to out-knucklehead one another. Several incidents involving road courses have earned prominence for the door-slamming behavior that took place. On Sunday, the road race that was taking place was a thrilling event that did not involve any of those dramatics. Compare this to Texas Motor Speedway, which, despite its owner's best attempts to improve the track's conditions, has been unable to put on the type of spectacular racing that fans have come to expect in recent years. If the long-term goal of NASCAR is to add events in new markets, then there needs to be a conversation about whether or not certain parts of the country are already oversaturated with races. If the premier level of the sport is going to shift its focus more toward road courses and away from 1.5-mile layouts, then there is no reason not to seriously examine the possibility of Texas Motor Speedway being replaced by COTA. Thirdly, whose move during the silly season has paid off more? Reddick or Busch? When a driver changes to a different race team, there is no assurance that they will be successful in their new role. It is possible to have everything in place, including the personnel, the pieces, the funds, and everything else. But if things don't work out and click together, it might backfire and blow up in your face. In the history of NASCAR, there have been many instances of things that appeared promising on paper, but turned out to be unsuccessful in practice. The pairing of Darrell Waltrip and Waddell Wilson was met with such sky-high anticipation that the duo was dubbed the Dream Team. Yet the reality of their performance was more similar to a nightmare. When Larry McReynolds became Dale Earnhardt's crew chief, there was an anticipation that he would be successful in his new role, but that expectation was never realized. As a result of their moves to Richard Childress Racing and 23XI, Kyle Busch and Reddick are competing in a completely different league than everyone else. Both of their choices have already shown to be sound ones. Regardless of the outcome, both teams qualified for the postseason. Undoubtedly, there were questions about whether or not Reddick should have left an RCR that was heading in the correct direction. Would Busch be able to find early success with his new team? Both have already disproved those assumptions, and if you give both of them another 5 months to improve their abilities, they both have a shot at a season that is more successful than simply winning a race or two. Considering every point of Sunday's COTA, don't forget that there were too many ringers at the road course show. The road course ringers were the subject of a reasonable amount of excitement leading up to Sunday's competition at COTA. In the end, though, neither of them was a factor in deciding who would win the race in the final laps. It was cool to see drivers from a wide variety of racing disciplines competing in the NASCAR Cup Series, but it felt a lot like Travis Pastrana racing in the Daytona 500, like a bucket list item being checked off at the expense of drivers in NASCAR's top series. Any hopes of non-NASCAR fans taking an interest in this series have been dashed by the chaos that occurred at the end of the race, which poured buckets of ice-cold water on such hopes. NASCAR needs a compelling week-to-week product, rather than trying to shoehorn a one-off all-star race into its highest level of racing in order to increase interest in the sport. What do you think is Tyler Reddick's win trouble for Bubba Wallace? Tell us in the comments. Be sure to hit the bell button and subscribe to our channel to get the latest updates. Tyler Reddick finally won the race after 3 attempts to go into overtime. Oh, and Chase Elliott was on the show as well. That was the best part. Everything else. NASCAR had to compete with 2 NCAA Elite 8 games and the WGC match play. If viewers turned to Fox, they would have seen a line of cars that looked like a Chick-fil-A drive-thru, and caution laps at the 3.426 mile monster seemed to last for days. When the green flag dropped, the yellow flag was right behind it, and a hairpin at the end of a long straight stretch turned into a 5-wide mosh pit. Elliott smiled and was happy the whole time, but the only thing anyone else who made it through the chaos did was crack a beer. Bubba Wallace didn't see the late fireworks, but that didn't make him any happier. On lap 11, he gave up after he locked up his brakes and crashed into Kyle Larson. It was his 5th DNF in the last 7 road races he entered. After that, he didn't hold back and pointed his anger right at himself. Daniel Suarez had been in the top 5 for most of the day, but in overtime, he fell to 27th place after Alex Bowman pushed him into Martin Truex in the first sharp left-hand turn. After that, Suarez looked for answers wherever he could find them. To get to Bowman's bumper on pit road, he passed Chastain on the cool-down lap. Suarez and Chastain are teammates at Trackhouse Racing, and when they talked, they were clearly angry with each other. Now, about Reddick. It was the 3rd win on a road course in the last 5 races, and Sunday's could have been the best of the 3. Reddick not only made it through the race and held off the other drivers 3 times, but he also pitted an extra time and still won. And he did it in a Toyota, which in 2022 was not very good at road races. Elliott and AJ Allmendinger didn't win any road races in 2022, so it's clear that Reddick is the king of the road. So far, that's all for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. Tell us in the comments what you think about the video, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to see more of our videos on NASCAR updates. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.